Good morning. This is Jahlon from the Paradox Gaming Network. Welcome back to Archeage 101. Today's episode is a quick guide to getting started and how to spend your time. Before I get into this episode, I got to give special recognition to Zalika from my guild on Conviction. She originally put this together as a Paradox introductory, and I thought that the information in it was so good that all new players could use it. So I converted it to one of our Archeage 101. So good job, Z. As always, if you need to get in touch with us, you can visit us at our webpage via email. You can find me on Discord, or you can join the Archeage 101 Discord server, where there's a ton of people online all around the clock willing to help answer some questions. Some good references for you. There is Archtools for all sorts of goodness. There is Omnom, which gives you a look ahead at the game patch notes. There is the IGN wiki. Got to be a little careful here. Some of the screenshots are out of date using the old screenshot models. So make sure that if you're looking at a particular item from that guide, you look it up with the in-game encyclopedia. And then, of course, my Discord listed one more time. Just to give you a quick look at Archtools, my big thing that I like to use it for is I love coming here and using the trade pack pricer. Several other things that they have here. They link you to the interactive map. This is good if you are looking for coordinates for treasure hunting. You can pop your coordinates here and it'll give you a rough idea of where the treasure item is. Also a big fan of the tax calculator. I happen to run a lot of properties, so if you're trying to figure out if you're going to be able to afford that next property, nothing beats this tax calculator. So the first thing on our list is guild quest and prestige points. If you are in a guild, guild quests are daily and required to be completed. This is a standing Paradox rule. I don't see why any guild out there wouldn't make their guild quests a requirement. Basically, if you're a rank 8 guild, you have nowhere else to go, so I could see maybe you're not going to have people dedicated to those. But really, personally, you're going to want to do these because you're going to want that prestige. I'm going to include all these links at the bottom. I'm not going to bore you going to all sorts of different web pages, but I'm going to link these, and all the videos you see are previous videos I've done. I've sort of just compiled them into this single presentation. Big thing with the prestige points, if you follow the cursor, here's where you get your costumes. Here's where you get your guild cloaks. And then as you see, you have the unbreakable Luna scales or the attack speed gems. These are all important things for flushing out your gear. More of them on this page. One thing I do want to point out is this Michigan's hidden crate. These are like the worst of the worst when it comes to RNG boxes. If you're looking to upgrade stones for your undergarments or your costume, I highly suggest you just straight buy your Michigan crystals. If you're going to use prestige, don't try to use these hidden crates. A lot of people burn through a lot of prestige only to find out that they were further behind than if they had just bought the crystals outright. As far as family quests and vocation points, family quests earn you XP for you and your family, as well as vocation points. As we know, with the transition going back into 4.0, vocation points are going to change again. Not going to talk about that too much today. For right now, you're going to want to just be knocking out those vocation points. Obviously, I'm not going to screenshot everything in the vocation shop. So what I'm going to do is come in. Here's your vocation shop right here. And this is where you get all your seeds. If you're still leveling ancestral levels, for 4,000, you can get your ancestral warrior medals. But pretty much all the tier 2 and higher seeds and livestock and trees are all in the vocation tab. Near the end, you've got your dawn drop items for 12,000 apiece. Really good items to get if you're doing a lot of harvesting, gathering, mining, and crafting. And then you have your motorcycle bike design at the very end for 120,000. So vocation, you're going to want to be gathering it as much as you can. So the next thing is some item quest lines you should be working on. First, you got your Holy Unister Guardian Ring. This is a must-have for healers. This is basically your healer's dream ring. It gives that healing percentage and that skill damage. Next, you got your Crimson Watch Ring. Not the greatest ring for anybody, including healers. I am debating back and forth whether or not a cast time ring is better than the 1.5% healing, given the fact that you can get pretty close to 20% healing bonus without it. It does require 3 Kadam Sparks, but it does require you to do this quest to receive this item to complete your main storyline. Big thing that I've always said in MMOs is you always want to stay on top of any racial or faction storylines, because you never know when they're going to be expanded again. You never want to be behind the power curve. For everybody else that's not a healer, you're going to want to be working on your Flawless Dream Ring. The Dream Ring quest is one of the longest in-game. The ring does have 2 lower versions, so you will be getting something for your efforts. It's not like you have to wait until the very end. A big thing here, cannot be worn with the Guardian Ring, the Unister Guardian Ring. Truthfully, healers, you're going to end up getting this if you're working with your guild, helping your guild mates through it. But it's going to be one of those things that you probably end up throwing in your warehouse and never using. And then the Ionad earring. Now, a lot of people are going to say that this earring isn't worth the effort, and that's true. For some classes, the Ionad earring is never worth it, because the equip effects are not as good as other items they can get. Now, for a healer, because I primarily play healers, I can always talk about that. I can tell you that 50 stamina, along with 4.5 critical heal bonus, that makes it best in slot for us. But I also want you to see that if you endure and you get to the very end, this all critical rates, including healing, plus 70% for 2 seconds on a 2-minute cooldown. This is pretty huge, because your critical heal rate should be somewhere around 40% when you've got your endgame gear. I'm going to flip in real quick and show you that mine is at 42.5% unbuffed. I'm going to go ahead and throw buffs real quick just so we see what mine pops up to. And as you see, I got up to 44%. If I switch into a higher spirit item, I'm at 45%. My defense one, I'm at 43.4%. Now, if you think about that, and I pop in the critical heal rate of 70%, that puts me over 100%. Guaranteed crit heal for 2 seconds. That's pretty big. If I throw a mend and healing him around, that's going to be a whole lot of healing done in just about 2 seconds. Now, as I said, the library earring is a very long and daunting quest. I've broken down what you're going to need for each of the 4 earrings. This first earring has no stats on it, but it is an earring, so I gave it its own category. The big thing is that you're going to need 320 Wizard's tokens, and when I pull up a calculator and I do 320, you can get 3 easily a day. You're talking 106 days of doing all 3 dailies, all 3 floor dailies. So a little over 3.5 months. The other big pieces are these floor 3 aquamarines. It's a little bit of a pain to do that floor 3 side room boss, but it's manageable once you have a static group that's going through. I highly recommend you form a 5-man static to do this, because when you have to do things like the Ionad Opal, where you kill 5 Alexanders, 5 Halniks, and 5 Winds, what that does is that's going to be 15 senior mana prints. Each person in the group is going to need 43. You're going to want to be doing corner reading room as you have the orbs, because everybody's going to need 50 of those council mana prints. And then the other big one is these 40 Ionad Animas. So you're going to need 40 of them, and each one takes 15 shards. So you're going to need 600 shards, and you can get 4 shards a day. So this one, you're looking at 150 days. Now, the good news is if you have alts and you bring them into the library with you, you can only do the Ionad Anima quest once per day, but your alts can summon off the NPC that you have to kill, and so you can chip away at it a little faster. And then, of course, at the very end, you will have to do Heart of Ionad twice, because you will need 2 mana cores for each person. Another item that you want to be working on is the Proven Warrior Necklace, also known as the Halsey Neck. You can take these up to rank 6 before having to choose a path, and at rank 7, you have to choose between the Evernight line or the Derriere line. Now, healers, you really want to put some serious thought into making one of these for your PvE content with that 6% cast time and that 100 spirit. This is purely a healer's neck. Also, the Hand of Salvation, making everybody immune to all damage for 3 seconds. That's just ridiculous in some situations in some of the harder PvE content. For PvP, everybody that's squishy, that received damage 6% and that 100 stamina, 150 toughness, this is just huge as a tanking neck piece. Unfortunately, the shield buff on this one is 4,000 damage before expiring, so it's not quite as good as full immunity, but given the fact that it already is more tanky, it's a good choice. Another item everybody should be working on is their guild cloaks, and I will include the link from the previous video on how to do these, but I've broken down and posted the 5 main guild cloaks. And then underneath, I've told you what the flaming version does. So on, say, the arrow flash, instead of backstab melee damage, you would get melee critical damage. Now, I know that for some classes, the regular line one is better. For healers in the middle, that Bastion Cloak, please go with the healing power one. The critical heal bonus, you're going to get a lot of critical heal bonus from other places. As you can see, I have 123% critical heal bonus just in my regular gear. And as I've shown in other videos, when Zeal procs, you're at 198.5. So if I had the final form earring, I would be at 200% critical heal bonus. Don't give up the raw healing power. For the Windsong Cloak, most archers I've talked to have said that the ranged critical damage one is better because of the nerf to Death Pen. For tanks, the Twin Tail Cloak, the magic defense one is usually better because most pure tanks are stacking plate and using the costume, undergarment, cloak, shield combo to get their magic defense up. For the Arrow Flash Cloak, I've talked to people and they've been pretty well split on whether it's backstab or melee crit. And again, the Hatchet Blade, most mages I've talked to have said the magical crit damage is better than Magic Death Pen given the changes that they made to that particular stat. Moving on to some of the other things you should be working about. The next sort of concept is building your infrastructure. And the first question is are you patron? Now, if you're not patron, you should be trying to get patron. Patron is more than just land ownership. Patron is labor regen. A patron generates 2,880 labor per day. That's before sleeping. So if you're not a patron, and I don't know how you're going to get geared. I don't know how you're going to have the labor to make money. If you are a patron, then my question for you is, have you placed a thatched farmhouse or a 16 by 16 cottage and a farm? You want to have at least 2 pieces of property so that you can be using it to make money. Property makes money. I recommend the 16 by 16 upgraded cottage or the thatched farmhouses for the seed beds. Seed beds grow the seeds in a considered in their primary climate. I've talked about all this in other videos, but just by growing seeds in a seedbed, you can make gold. Also on your infrastructure, do you have a clipper? If you don't have a clipper, get a clipper. Everyone should have one. They're not that expensive to build. They're not that expensive to regrade the sail and the propellant to divine. I don't know how many times there's people who are like, I need to get somewhere and I don't have a clipper. It's kind of like you never know you need it until you need it. The same sort of thing goes with a siege tank. If you don't have a siege tank, try to save the honor or buy an ironclad plan off the auction house. Don't get the Gildastar one. Get the ironclad. It's just straight better. I've talked about it in other videos. It's just straight better. It's very useful for bunker if you have to do your daily bunker quest, and for other things. And by those other things, I mean, if you somehow manage to steal a merchant ship and you need to pop it really quickly, a siege tank is very useful for that. If you want to get involved in some of the endgame castle sieges, nothing is more painful than trying to run a castle siege and not having basically one tank for every person. Those are the things that your endgame guild are going to talk to you more about. Also with infrastructure is you're going to have to decide on how you're going to make your gold. Now, I've published tons of things on how to make gold, so I'm not going to go into those with this, but I am going to say that if you're going to do trade packs, you need to decide on a car or a freighter. A freighter allows you to move more packs per run. A car lets you do runs faster, assuming you can run 3 alts. And a car gives you access to Rakala. If you can't run 3 alts at the same time, maybe you only get a Timber Coupe or a Redwood Roadster. But at that point, you're moving 4 packs versus 10 on the freighter. So you really need to think about this in the long term. What's going to make you more money? Some people make a lot of gold selling raw goods. You got to find a niche, but don't put all your eggs in one basket. I know a ton of people that try to compete occasionally with my products. They start like undercutting wars. Well, I just wait those out, or I just buy all their product and store it. That's why keeping a good supply on hand. There are days that I can sell completely out of a product, and then I feel like I'm not making gold that day. And then selling compound goods, you can make a ton of money if you grow everything for a compound item like seed oil. Grow the corn, grow the rice, run the charcoal yourself. But you got to watch the prices. Markets are fickle anymore. The cost of charcoal jumping up to 3 gold on North America Legacy, that really put a damper on. That really put a damper on some profit making, because people were like, "Well, I can't buy charcoal now." They had all their eggs in one basket. They had thousands and thousands of rice and corn, but now they don't have any charcoal to go with it. Another thing that I've done in the past, and I still do on occasion, is I will find a major crafter and I will do a bulk contract. And what that is I will sell you X amount per week for X gold per week. And generally we don't haggle over pennies. If the cost of materials go up or down a little bit, we don't change it. So a good example of this is I promise to sell you 100 small seed oils at 7 gold a piece per week. So every week I deliver 100 small seed oils and you give me 700 gold. As long as charcoal doesn't do anything ridiculous that week, we stay locked. We have a gentleman's agreement, however, that if what happened with charcoal happened, charcoal went from 2 to 3 gold. We have a gentleman's agreement that we'll split the difference the first week in half, and then the next week we'll renegotiate the price. So after infrastructure, the next thing is, what world events should I be attending? Now, it's easy for me to say yes. Well, what world events should I be attending? Yes, all of them. Unfortunately, when you're a new player and you're trying to get gear, you're trying to balance a lot of things. You're trying to balance your trade runs with your infrastructure, with your getting honor, with your leadership, and your... So I'm just going to talk about a few of them. You pick and choose the ones that will get you what you need. And the two easiest ones are Crimson Rift and Grimghast Rift. As you can see, these occur at a static time because they occur on in-game time. Crimson Rift is at noon in-game, and Grimghast is at midnight. The nice thing about this is that both of these have world bosses at the end of them, which allow you to get your world boss guild quest done. I have included links to the events themselves for a more thorough walkthrough. But what I want to talk about right now is stacking for CR and GR bosses. New players, I know this isn't going to mean anything to you, but you have to stack within 5.0 meters of both hounds. So as you can see, this diagram shows you the proper placement for killing the endgame boss, or the end CR/GR bosses. If both of the hounds are here, they're facing the tank, everybody is inside a 5-meter radius of both hounds. This is the proper way to do it. This is how to not do it. All of these people right here are doing it right. The tank is doing it right. The hounds are doing it. They're doing it right. But these 5 people have decided that they're stacking behind one of the hounds. What this is going to do is this hound right here is going to get aggravated at these 5 people, and it's going to begin shooting its cannon at these 5 people. You 5 people are probably going to die. That's just the way it is. If you're new, you're probably one of these people. If you're outside of the circle of 5 meters of both, you're going to get shot. This is the way wrong way to do it. This is probably the most dangerous way that things can happen, because all these people that have gotten knocked back by the hounds and not pressed back in, both of these hounds are going to turn around and start shooting at you, and you're probably going to kill off about half the raid, and you're going to start screaming at the healers and the tanks, like, why don't you have aggro? Well, I can't hold aggro. I'm usually this guy, and if you're back here, there is nothing I can do. I cannot hold aggro on the hounds because it's a mechanic. They shoot at people on their aggro table that are outside 5 meters. Again, there is nothing I can do. There is nothing the best tank in the game can do. Absolutely nothing. So in short, if you're getting hit with a sword, the tank fucked up. The tank lost aggro. Or you fucked up and you pulled aggro, but a tank is supposed to be able to hold aggro. So if you're getting hit with a sword, you're probably standing in front of the mob, or the tank fucked up and lost aggro. If you're getting shot in the face, you fucked up. Move into 5 meters. Do not run away from the hounds. Do not run around all over. I can tell you, if I'm running CR on conviction and you're not stacking and you're running all over, I'm going to kick you from the raid. I'm going to purple on you to kill you, not because I don't like you, but because I'm trying to save the raid. Other world events to attend. Luskas. Big thing on Luskas. Bring steel ammo and Shedigan sand. There is nothing more frustrating than being a galleon captain, looking down at your deck, having 20 people on your ship and 1 person on a cannon. And then when you say in raid chat, man the cannons, you get nothing but, I don't have ammo, I don't have ammo, I don't have ammo. If you don't have ammo, don't come to Luskas. It's real simple. Ammo is cheap. You can buy 1,000 of it. And you know what? Let's just see. Let's see how much 1,000 steel ammo is going to cost us. Right now, 1,000 steel ammo is going to cost us 10 gold. 1,000 steel ammo, if you're one of many people on cannons, should probably last you 10 Luskas. So, bring ammo. Miss Marrow. Miss Marrow is a PvP, PvE event that occurs 3 times per day. You can do it all 3 times per day. Potentially a lot of honor to get. Also, you can lose a lot of honor if you die a lot. A good place to get warriors medals. There's a quest for killing the NPCs that spawn. Really, I recommend Miss Marrow to people because it's a lot of group combat and it gives you a chance to refine your PvP skills. And the same thing for the Halcyona War. But this one occurs whenever the zone is pushed to war. You can only do this one once per day. Let me rephrase that. You can go to the Halcyon of War as many times a day as you want. You can only do the quest once per day. There is a ton of honor to be gained here. It is not uncommon to get 1,000 honor from killing people if you're having good PvP. And this is an East versus West event. Now, finally, like all MMOs, I hear a lot of people say all the time, I'm bored, I have nothing to do, this game sucks, this game's dead, blah, blah, blah. There's a ton of stuff to do. If you really get down into the nitty gritty of it, this list isn't even everything you can be doing, but are all your skill trees 55? And do you have the Enlightened Art Master title? If you don't, go get that title. Get all your trees to 55. Level your ancestral skills. You should be ancestral 7. If you're not ancestral 7, you need to be doing those things to get honor and vocation badges so that you can level it. Did you do your library dailies today? Are you working on your earring? You can lift sunken treasure chests. I'm not going to talk about the sunken treasure chests in this video, but they're time consuming and they're profitable. Capture one of the world bosses and make it your pet. I just talked about that in the last video. You need honor? Go fight in the arenas. If you load up arenas and you fight in sparring, you can't claim gear. Everybody gets gear equalized. You can fight in the 3v3s, and these are gear equalized. You can fight in the 1v1s, and guess what? You might pull somebody who's a 7k gear score, but you know what? You can see what you can do against them. 5v5s are rather dead, although I'm hoping that for the last couple of weeks before we go into 4.0, I'm hoping to get a lot of people going in there so that we can get everybody those last titles. And then free-for-alls. Go into the free-for-all, and who cares if you get your ass kicked for 15 minutes? Learn, see, watch what you can. Load your combat log so you can see what people are doing. Just observe. Believe it or not, I've seen low-level people come out of the free-for-all arena in one of the top 4 slots because they're getting tags on people, they're killing the bosses in the 3 side rooms, and before you know it, like a 5k gear score is like in the top 4. Go pirating the pirates and steal packs. You know what? You're probably not going to be successful, but you know what? Go out and do it anyway. Refine your naval combat. Look up quests and do titles. You're going to want as many titles as you can going into 4.0. Oh my god, look, a whole second page of things you can do. Farm, craft, run packs, go mining, chop trees, make gold, do dungeons. As I've said several times, I've done a video on it, do dungeons and regrade the items using the Dimension Workbench and get yourself a decent set of gear for almost no gold. Do Serpentis. Go find a group to do Record Keeper Win if you need to start your Ionid Earring. PvP. Go terrorize people. It's, nothing stops you from running around in the West Zones looking for PvP. Do ghost ships. You need a galleon and 5 people. They're fun to do. Not the Delphinid ghost ships, mind you, just the regular little baby ghost ships. Make sure you've done your daily family, guild, gilda, merit quests. That right there should take time. Work at a castle. Get some Lord's coins. If you say I have nothing to do, I've just given you 20 things to do. Well, actually, Zalika gave you 20 things to do. So, there you go. There is a bunch of stuff you can be doing. And that's it. That's all I have for today. I just really wanted to do a culmination video on getting started and to show you some things you could be doing with your time. Because I know a lot of people keep saying, I'm bored, I have nothing to do, I'm bored. Well, there's nothing I can say about that. There is absolutely tons of stuff to do in Archeage, and we have 4.0 coming around the corner, and 4.5 is going to be down the pipe very quickly afterwards. Hey, you. Yes, you. Yeah, you. I'm talking to you. Hit that subscribe button. Watch a couple of more videos. Go check out our website.